Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Grace of a Military Child in Life podcast. Military families are not like your traditional family. They are strong, brave, resilient, and some of the most incredible people I know. My name is Gracie, a U.S. Army brat, and I am your host. I am honored to be able to give military family members like myself a place for them to share their stories and experiences in the military life. Stay tuned for this week's guest. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to a new episode of Grace of a Military Child in Life. Today, I have Molly Rose Speed with me, who is an Air Force spouse. So welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Hi, I'm so good. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So tell me what it's like being a military spouse for you.
So being a military spouse is something I stepped into. I grew up in Iowa. We didn't have military bases around. And I met this guy in college and he was in ROTC and he's like, I'm going to be in the military. So if you're going to be with me, this is what I'm going to do. And it has been one of the best parts of my life that I didn't see coming. So I love the community. I love being a part of something really big and great that we do. He does primarily for our country. We do it as well, I think. And I love it. I love every aspect of it.
Right. Yeah. Because the families serve right alongside with the service members. And like you said, we don't necessarily get to choose the lifestyle. For spouses, you find the love of your life and you choose to kind of just go along with it. And then kids were just, born into the lifestyle.
Yeah.
So we just have to ride along.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So I've been enjoying the ride, I guess.
Yeah. What are some of the highlights you've had throughout the lifestyle?
So I think building really amazing relationships with people. So we've been stationed for 13 years in the same area, which is unheard of, I think.
Right.
Among my peers as well. And he's been restationed in different bases, but we've all been in the same area. So I've never moved and I always thought I was going to. But the relationships that I've built along the way with friends has been something I didn't see coming. And then I started a business along the way supporting military spouses to create virtual careers as virtual assistants. And that also has been, again, something I didn't see coming, but such a blessing to be able to support these women, to be able to make their own money, work whenever they want, and travel and move like I thought I was going to. Why I started this in the whole first place. So it's been really cool to do that as well.
Yeah, because one of the biggest challenges a lot of military spouses face is career.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them, are in college and they are chasing these dreams of getting a degree and finding a stable career. But then, you meet the love of your life, you become a military spouse, and your whole world is flipped upside down. Most don't have the luxury of staying in the same place for, 13 years. But they are all over the place. And a lot of employers don't want to hire military spouses because they know that. And they know that in just a few years, they're going to be moving. And so it's not necessarily ideal from a business standpoint to hire them, which is very unfortunate. And very unfortunate for military families.
Yeah, I ran into that when I was, this was 13 years ago when I was working corporate, had moved down here. And to start, I graduated college, thought I was going to move to the big city, work in corporate finance, have this, amazing corporate life. And, like you said, had different plans, followed the love of my life. And I remember being in interviews and having to reword things or suppress things to not let them know that I was a military spouse or going to be one. And I just remember that feeling. And I was like, this is not cool. And that's why I started to do what I do now. And it was just an upset feeling that communities are doing that to us as well.
Yeah, a lot of people experience that same thing of having to be like, okay, how do I tell them, but not tell them I'm a military spouse? There's a chance that I'm only going to be here temporarily and then I'm going to end up moving. And then, either I've heard both sides of it where they don't hire or they hire and you're really building that foundation within the company and they turn your position remote. So then you
Yeah.
can move and
Yes.
still keep the same job, which is incredible that companies and, offices will do that because they see the value in military families
Mhm.
and how hard workers military spouses are as well, even with our chaos lifestyle, but you see both sides, and it's really unfortunate to the ones who get overlooked.
Absolutely. Yep. I
Yeah.
hate that that is happening.
Yeah, I know. So how, giving jobs, how do you give jobs to military spouses? How can they get involved?
Yeah. So recognizing everything kind of we talked about and having the same conversation with military spouses, their loss of identity, which we talk about, or their husbands are deploying and now all of a sudden they're a solo parent and having to juggle that schedule. Or simply coming to a new area and they can't find a job, can't get hired for all the reasons we just said, or their industry just isn't here. I recognize that being a virtual assistant is a job that I get a lot of fulfillment out of. And military spouses seem to as well. So I created a virtual assistant academy to really professionalize the training of being a virtual assistant, get them that top pay out of graduating from the program and really qualify them and make sure that they're really polished to do this work. And then having certified over 150 virtual assistants, about 90% of them are military spouses. I had employers coming to me saying, how do I hire your virtual assistants? I need one. This is amazing. So we created a placement agency so virtual assistants can then get placed with our clients. So I have a vast network of business owners. So we're basically creating this training company with job placement. And it's been so cool to see. We have military spouses from all walks of life. Some are former nurses, teachers, some were in the business field, some are in HR, some have high school degrees, and some have college degrees. And so it's just been really cool to support this group.
Yeah, I love that. And, it's incredible to see something that you started just because you saw a need for it and it grow and expand. And then people coming to you saying, hey, I need virtual assistants. It's so fulfilling to see, a passion project really start and grow over time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was in Starbucks because when I was a virtual assistant, I quit my corporate finance job because my husband was deployed all the time. I had 10 days of vacation. I was like, this is not life, right? I want to travel and do things while he's gone as well and be home when he's home. So when I started this job, all my friends, peers would see my life. They're like, you're traveling to Europe, you're making money, you seem happy. How do I do that? And so I'd say, let's go to Starbucks and talk about it. And I remember my fifth Starbucks date with a different person. I was like, I need to reach more women. How do I do this? So I started recording what I know. And this was way before online courses were a big, big thing. And then started sharing it with military spouses. And then it really evolved. And I was able to kind of reform it and redo it to make it really robust. And so, yeah, just fulfilling a need. And it's been really cool.
Yeah, and I'm sure you refine the course over time because as times change, we're seeing a huge influx of virtual assistants. So I'm sure things are changing. There's always something to update.
Absolutely. Every day I'm working on it.
Yeah, and it's so cool to kind of be ahead of the pace where, like I said, virtual assistants are becoming huge, especially, that was something I looked at doing. I'm still in college, but that's something I looked at doing in college was being a virtual assistant.
Sure.
It's an easy, side hustle for students to be able to manage on top of their coursework and still succeed in college and still succeed in building a resume and getting pay because, military spouses and college students kind of, struggle with pay sometimes.
Yes.
So it can be hard to live off of, either no paycheck or a very small paycheck. And so being a virtual assistant is just one easy way to start, growing your resume, especially for when military spouses, your spouse retires. and,
Hmm.
you need a career after retirement. And,
Yeah.
you're in your late 30s, early 40s. Um, and it's like, what do I do from here? You know?
Yeah. 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 It's been really great. And another thing I love about it for military spouses and anyone, stay at home moms in general too, is you can work as much or as little as you want. So if you want to start now for 5 hours a week while your kids are in school, or 2 hours a day, or whatever that looks like for you, you can do that. And then when they get into later stages of school and you have more time on your hands, you can do that. Or if they're off for the summers, you can scale down, you can scale up, and that's really cool. Or when they exit the house, you can take on more. When your husband retires, you can take on more. So it's really flexible and really cool to do it that way.
Yeah, a lot of families look for that flexible schedule, especially because you don't know if your spouse is going to be deployed. You don't know if there's going to be an emergency, if a PCS is coming up, and where
Mhm.
you need that flexibility of, I can't work a 9 to 5. I need, these time periods off that's maybe, 1 to 5, and it's in the middle of the workday.
Yeah.
And running kids to doctor's appointments when your spouse isn't able to, or doing balancing basically single parenting is
Yep.
hard. And
Yes.
so having that flexibility within a career is so important for military families.
Yes, absolutely. And I'd say we've definitely figured that out to be able to offer that. So that's great.
Yeah, for sure. And, being able to just have that for all walks of life is so important. And, it's not something you have to start at a certain age. You can start whenever and just
Mhm.
grow from there.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a good point too. We have virtual assistants that start with us when they're in their early 20s and some that are in their 50s. And it's also such a cool career because you can do, when you ask someone what a virtual assistant does, the answer is always different. So there's a ton of things that you can do. And really it's a really professional career. At least that's what I'm striving to make it for my academy graduates. Like you can make great money doing it. But to my point, you can be any age, and our clients need different personalities, different skill sets, different experiences that different ages have. So it's really cool that it really is a one-stop shop fit for just about anyone with a good
Yeah.
work ethic. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can travel during it, which
Mm-hmm.
is huge. And like you said, going to Europe and getting
Mm-hmm.
all of those experiences, it's so fun to be able to take work with you whenever you go, or be able to kind of scale back if you need a break.
Yep. Absolutely. And I've sure done my fair share of that. So
Yeah, get those passport stamps and visit every state in this country, and
yep.
really experience the world for what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to work, my husband deployed about every 4 months. It was 4 on, 4 gone. It was a lot of ops. And so I would never had a problem with it because I would just get on a plane and go to Europe. And I was late 20s at this time. And I would just find the best hostels I could in town, meet people, and I'd work in the morning and I'd sightsee in the afternoon. And then I'd go to dinner with a new friend. And it was such a cool way to live. I loved it. So that's definitely an opportunity, however that looks for you.
Yeah, for sure. Being able to customize schedules to fit, the
Mhm.
unpredictable military schedule. Everyone says the only thing you can basically have control over is that there's no control. So
Yeah.
being able to have control over a work situation makes it so much. You have that sense of
Yeah.
control and that sense of security in something, at least.
Yeah. That's a great little phrase there. The only thing you control is you have no control. Yeah. And you just let go. And yeah, to your point, this is something that you have for yourself. It's your thing. It's your job outside the military. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, a lot of spouses, lose that sense of identity, like you said. And it's hard because your identity then becomes being a military spouse, being a military kid, being a military family member. And that is, for some people, sure, that's what they strive for. That's what they find their passion in. But for others, it's like, well, where'd my career go? Where'd my success go? Why do I have this degree if I'm not even going to use it?
Yep.
And so it's all of those things wrapped up into one. And so giving them a sense of identity in a career or encouraging them in other ways is so important to be able to give them that sense of identity back.
Yes. I couldn't have put it better. Thank you.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of spouses say is they struggle with career. They struggle with finding their identity, especially when moving to bases, locations, and having nothing the same, nothing consistent. And so having at least something consistent that can travel with them that is part of their identity. It builds them up. And I'm sure there's been people who came through your program who were motivated to start their own business and
Oh, yeah.
start their own adventures too.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had our fair. So the way the program's set up is to encourage that. I want virtual assistants to run their own business and do their own thing. We can provide clients as well. But I've had several that have gone through moves and just flawlessly done it. They let their client know, I might be, usually I'm a 10-hour work week. It might be a 5-hour because I'm moving, and they're all so understanding of that. And then they just pick right up where they left off as they're unloading boxes and moving into their next place. And it just works so well. So it's been really cool to see that work and just give this as an option to military spouses, our community.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so special is that, you can, in a sense, kind of vet the clients prior to make sure that their needs align with the needs of what these military spouses are going to have. And it's not something where they have to commit more than what is ideal in this lifestyle, because you never know. You could be unloading boxes and someone needs something and you can't get to it right away.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And we do that. That's one of the benefits of our agency, our placement agency, is we certainly make sure that the client is a good fit. I was on a call today with all of my VA team, and we were talking about pricing and just doing some education. And I shared with them, I'm like, we've been turning down several clients lately because they just haven't fit what our expectation for you guys to have you women to have great clients. And so, it's been a good service to offer to them that they don't have to deal with it or say no to a person. We do it for them.
Yeah, because a lot of people have that guilt of saying no, military life, non-military life, whatever it may be. It's hard to say no to some people. And that's something you have to learn over time is saying no. But having somebody else say no for you makes it a lot easier. Not easier on your aspect, I'm sure, but still it makes it easier for everyone else to be like, okay, well, I don't have to worry about having calls or meetings or a task that needs to be done at a random time where I might not be available.
Yep. We take care of that.
Yeah. And how can, listeners who want to get involved in this get involved?
Yeah. So we have a virtual assistant academy. This is a certification program and it's all on demand. So when you sign up, you can get started right away. And it walks you through exactly how to start a virtual assistant business, as well as the technology that you need to know to get hired immediately. So it's everything soup to nuts that you can do. I'm actually launching a live version of this. So if anyone signs up, you'll also get me live for 6 weeks, coaching you alongside a group of VAs, which I'm really excited about. And we offer a really great military discount. So you'll see on the site, you can fill out a form and then my counterpart will be in touch to help you with that, because our goal is to never to offer this to military spouses the best we can, because we want to support this community as much as we can. So virtualassistantacademy.com is our website.
Awesome. Yeah. And, you mentioned military spouses can get involved, but who is this program really open to?
Yeah, it's open to anyone looking for a 100% flexible career in the admin online business space. So you got to love being on a computer. being organized. There's a lot of creative elements to it that you don't have to be. There's a lot of analytical elements to it and you don't have to be. There's lots of different ways you can go and the skill sets that you need to do. You don't have to have a college degree, and you can dive right in based on just having the qualities of working hard and learning and wanting to serve your clients to the best of your ability. And we walk you through that every step of the way. So a lot of our virtual assistants are military spouses, stay-at-home moms, world travelers, college students, just anyone that's like, I don't want to work the corporate 9 to 5 and I can do this instead and still earn a really, really great income working when I want. So that's who it's for.
Yeah, there's so many people out there looking for such a flexible work schedule. Just scrolling through Instagram and Facebook, it's here's how to be, a brand affiliate and make money that way, or a virtual assistant and make money that way, or so many other things. Even just reviewing products on Amazon, apparently can bring in a huge income now. So there's so many different ways, and that's what people are thriving off of, not the standard 9 to 5 jobs. And I think that's a really cool transition that we're starting to see.
Yes, I love it. I'm so happy that the world is going this direction. I graduated, I don't know how many years ago, we'll say 13. And this wasn't an option. This was unheard of. Entrepreneurship, that was a buzzword that we didn't have back then. The way we do now. So I'm really proud of where we're headed. So just know that there's options for you, whether it's being a virtual assistant or a lot of the things you just mentioned. You're not stuck. There's so many different things you can do.
Yeah. And, it's great to see military spouses like yourself seeing a need, fulfilling it, starting off with wonderful programs that help others in need, and military spouses gain their identity back and gain a career that they kind of longed for.
Yep, absolutely. I'm loving seeing our community grow, and like I said, just getting on a call with my VAs today, and just they're so happy. They're like, yeah, this is going great. So if it's the right fit, please reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. And where can people reach you at?
Yeah, so virtualassistantacademy.com is where you can learn about the academy. And I'm Molly Rose Speed, and you can find me on Instagram. That's probably the easiest way. And I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Awesome. And the last thing I want to ask you is, what advice would you give to another military spouse?
So in regards to career, I love to say, create a career around your life, not a life around your career. So many of us are doing that backwards, and we're really unhappy. I was one of those people. And if this podcast shared anything else other than you have options to do this and to live this big, beautiful life that has a great career element to it. So leave you with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for being on the podcast and sharing about your incredible journey and giving so much wonderful advice to military spouses.
Thanks for having me. It's been great. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Grace of a Military Child and Life podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to give it a like, follow, and comment. Also, be sure to check out Instagram and Facebook at Grace of a Military Child and Life for more awesome content. For information on the podcast, Military Child Bigs and Littles, GoAMCL blog, or other resources, visit www.goamcl.org. You can also email me at Gracie, that's GRACIE @GOAMCL.org, with any questions or comments. To be a guest on the podcast, you can schedule it at www.goamcl.org/schedule a podcast, all one word, or contact me via social media or email. Stay tuned for the next episode where another incredible story is shared.